Hi, everybody. Welcome to the booth. Brian David Marshall, joined by Simon Gertzen, and we are ready. And we are getting ready for round 6. And let's send it down to the floor and meet our players. Hello and welcome to the round 6 of the World Championships. I'm Brian David Marshall, joined by Simon Gertzen. Let's meet our players.
Hi, my name is Paulo Vitor Damo da Rosa. I'm from Brazil, and I'm the second pro points slot for Latin America.
Owen Turtenwald, United States, top pro points, North America.
All right, we're ready to go with the players. There you see Owen Turtenwald on the right, and there is Paulo Vitor Damo da Rosa. And these guys are ready to go. Simon, what is the matchup here?
We have Paulo Vitor Damo da Rosa on Jeskai Ascendancy combo, and that is the Fate Stitcher Fairy Conclave powered one, which we saw Josh Adelaide play. On the other side, we also have combo, but the Peach Garden Oath is going for Pyromancer Ascension. So that's Blue-Red Storm.
And who do you think is favored between these two decks?
I think one of them might have broken the format. And that's the Jeskai Ascendancy deck. I also saw, I saw this very impressive game of Josh beating Pod, and then I saw this less impressive game of Owen losing to Teamer Delver, so that is definitely influencing me here.
So Fairy Conclave led things off for Paulo Vitor Damo da Rosa, and Owen cast Serum Visions, Sleight of Hand, sorry, off of Fetch Land into Steam Vents.
Yeah, life total is not super relevant for either of these. It does matter in a sense that Paulo wants to attack with Jeskai Ascendancy fueled haste creatures and fairy conclaves. Owen Turtenwald wants to win with Grape Shot, but usually if you go off, the exact number doesn't really matter.
Right. So Serum Visions number 2 here of the turn for Paulo Vitor Damo da Rosa.
And the Jeskai Ascendancy deck is on 4 Dig Through Time and a Treasure Cruise. So they are really looking to just find basically the 2 combo pieces for Jeskai Ascendancy and the 8 creatures that aren't really normal creatures, but right. you get the idea.
So it's really just the Fate Stitcher and the Fairy Conclave.
Yeah, I think Fate Stitcher is really your #1 plan. It's also super easy to get into the graveyard once you have the Ascendancy going.
There you get a look at Owen, the #1 ranked player. Sleight of Hand number 2.
Yeah,
looks like it found him a Pyromancer Ascension.
The Storm deck is often actually looking for lands, and that might be another problem that Owen is facing. Oh no, he has an island.
Yeah.
You see it there, white-bordered in his hand. So yeah, that's just super crucial. If you don't have that second land, then you aren't really doing much. But these decks do only play 16 lands usually. Right. And we're really relying on their cantrips.
Yeah, I've watched Reed Duke really scuffle for land playing the deck so far this week.
Yeah. On the other hand, Jeskai Ascendancy is a deck that does require even more mana to go off in if you want to go off in the same turn you cast Jeskai Ascendancy.
Right. What's the minimum number of lands you can have in play to successfully go off?
If you have 3 mana and then you unearth Fate Stitcher, so let's say it's already in your graveyard, then that generates a mana back and you can go off from there because of the Jeskai Ascendancy trigger giving you maybe another Fate Stitcher.
Right. So,
but I mean, if in this matchup you get to resolve a turn 3 Jeskai Ascendancy, you're also looking very fine starting next turn because every spell will draw you into Fate Stitcher.
That's exactly what is going to happen here. There is the Jeskai Ascendancy and a Thought Scour from Owen to end the turn.
Yeah, and Owen has to think about the possibility that Paulo is just going off next turn, so he might be forced to go off himself to prevent him dying to a haste creature.
Right.
It, of course, depends if he has reactive cards in his hand, but you can't really rely on Lightning Bolt because Jeskai Ascendancy puts creatures out of Lightning Bolt range so quickly.
Yeah, I watched Paulo playing Reed, actually, and Paulo resolved the Jeskai Ascendancy, and Reed was basically like, okay then. You know, I guess that makes whether or not I have to try to go off next turn is answered for me.
Yeah. I think that should be the default. If your hand is just incapable of going off, you can just put on your best poker face, say go, and hope for the best. But yeah, we see it. We see that Owen thinks the same way. I'm sure the Peach Garden North players discussed this as well. Oh yeah, this is a nice line where you generate mana first with spells that aren't in your graveyard, because now another ritual will put the first counter on Pyromancer Ascension.
Right. So it sounds like, you know, there is a Pyromancer Ascension successfully firing on one of the other tables. Reed Duke is up a game over Lars Dam in a very similar matchup.
Yeah, Owen just drew a Mana Morphose off his Mana Morphose, so that's going to be great either way. If he wants to fuel his Ascension, he gets to do it. Even better if he has another spell, like the Sleight of Hand.
Yep, it looks like the...
I did this a couple of years ago.
Look at this 2 Mana Morphose there. So Sleight of Hand.
Yeah, Brian, you did the deck tech with me, and I talked about Mana Morphose plus Pyromancer Ascension. It's basically Black Lotus.
Yes.
But you also get to draw 2 cards.
Yes. There you go. And there is the Mana Morphose. That's going to put 4 mana into his mana pool. It's going to draw him 2 cards.
So, don't know if that's the actual hand that he currently has, but even with just the Thought Scour, that's 2 additional cards. Mana Morphose draws additional cards, and he already has the Past in Flames. If we see at the top the dice representing the amount of mana that he still has, or is it just the Storm count? Does he have mana floating?
I believe that's Storm count.
Okay, I think that there's still mana floating though from the Mana Morphose. So this is pretty much unlosable for Owen Turtenwald at this point.
Yeah, the dice are the Storm count. So there's another draw, another 2 cards.
Yeah.
Make another 4 mana.
So it looks like Owen's just doing the mana math in his head here, but it doesn't look to be an issue of running out of mana anytime soon. It's really just which cards does Owen want to reveal to his opponent at this stage. Not that his deck list is secret, so he can really just take a safe route to victory here.
So Thought Scour is going to put 2 cards in his yard, and then draw a card, and then it's going to do it again. Wow. This is turn 3 here.
Yeah, and this is something that is an advantage for the Pyromancer Ascension deck. It is just capable of absolutely crazy draws.
And here's Past in Flames.
I'll play it with down to red. If I had 2 blue, 3 red.
Yeah. and I watched Paulo play before. He asked Reed in one game. He's like, "Oh, you have Past in Flames in your hand?" We're done here.
Sure. This is the World Championships. Owen Turtenwald is not going to mess up his Storm combo kill.
There you get a look at the floor, and really, you know, the Tom Martell William Jensen match you see there on the left. That is the same. That's the same matchup. We'll talk about that more after these messages.
Play like the pros by jumping into a Vintage Masters draft right now. Vintage Masters draft is available until December 10th. Join the fun by downloading Magic Online at www.mtgo.com. Start on your road to the Pro Tour in Vancouver next July by playing in a preliminary Pro Tour qualifier. With more than 2,000 WPN locations running events, you're sure to find one near you. Visit magic.wizards.com/pptq for schedules and information.
All right, welcome back. So we got 3 matches here, which are Ascendancy versus Ascension, but we're going to go and take a look at Patrick Chapin versus Kentaro Yamamoto, and this is the matchup of the blue-red Delver decks.
It looks like they're currently sideboarding, so not too much action there.
Yeah, actually Yamamoto is a Teamer Delver, whereas Patrick Chapin is the more recent vintaged blue-red Delver.
Yeah, he believes that he doesn't need the extra power and toughness of Tarmogoyf to win in this metagame here.
Well, you know, Chapin is up 1-0 here in this match. So, you know, so far the early results are proving him right. And it sounds like Tom Martell with Jeskai Ascendancy is up 1 game on Jensen as well.
Oh, so in this on this table, the Ascendancy deck was actually faster than the Pyromancer Ascension deck, then, which I think I would have to give the advantage to Ascendancy still, but of course, if you just have this Storm draw, then you are playing against a deck that has less interactive cards than, for example, Sean McLaren's Blue-White Red control deck.
Right. So now, earlier we saw Patrick Chapin playing his match, and we saw Harvest Pyre. And I assume that he brought that in the matchup against McLaren for Restoration Angel, so he could kill something with more toughness than 3. And I have to assume Tarmogoyfs are another reason that card's in his 75.
It has a double purpose against Tarmogoyf, right? Not only does it deal a bunch of damage, but you also get to remove cards from your graveyard. Right. So I could actually see it kill 2 Tarmogoyfs if you block one, Harvest Pyre the other, and by removing so many cards from the graveyard, the
make
other
your
one dies as
Monastery
well.
Swift Spear a little bigger.
That's the thing. Once you have Swift Spear or Young Pyromancer, even a card like Harvest Pyre, you can cast it for 0 and still get value. That's how good it is to have these creatures in play.
So everybody's shuffling up here. There is no Magic being played in the feature match area yet.
I do have something to tell you looking at these deck lists, and that is that the Storm decks from Peach Garden Oath have the plan of bringing in Empty the Warrens to have an alternative line of going for the Goblin token kill. Now, I'm not saying that that's the best idea against Jeskai Ascendancy, but it is an option that's available to them depending on what sideboard cards they expect. And the Jeskai Ascendancy decks have a sideboard plan of going Gifts Ungiven into Unburial Rites, Iona, and Elish Norn.
I love the sideboard plan for this Ascendancy deck, and that is so the deck itself is designed by Josh Utter-Layton, but that sideboard package with the Gifts Ungiven and the Unburial Rites is Paulo's big contribution to the deck list.
I love to hear that. It's like it looks like a Josh Utter-Layton deck, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it's good to see that Paulo is taking active part.
Okay.
I'm very happy that he's not playing Abzan like Willie Adel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we're gonna take a live look in on Reed Duke versus Lars Dam. Those guys are underway here, and Lars is also playing Jeskai Ascendancy, but he's playing a somewhat diluted list.
Well, or an outdated list.
Yeah,
maybe?
an outdated list.
Did you say that he just didn't find Fate Stitchers to play?
Yeah, he had some card issues with Fate Stitchers, but he's also still playing the mana creatures. I think either version of the deck he's playing in, which is not something we see in the Channel Firewall version.
Yeah, I think in the pseudo mirror that's actually fine. Against Storm, it also shouldn't have the biggest impact. But if you are playing against Patrick Chapin or against other Delver decks, that really hurts you. That turn 1 Birds of Paradise might lose you the game.
So here we see Reed Duke resolving a turn 1 Gitaxian Probe. And 2 lands in hand, a second land in hand for Reed, which has been his bane throughout this. But we are ready to go back to our match between Owen Turtenwald and Paulo Vitor Damo da Rosa. And they're underway with a fetch land from Paulo. The obligatory modern starting life total of 17.
Yeah. And, okay, might be a Serum Visions, which he's just waiting for Owen to shuffle his deck for. Has the Jeskai Ascendancy in hand, so definitely going to be looking to cast that on turn 3 for potential combo on turn 4. And I'm going to be interested to see how Owen reacted in sideboarding. Is he just trying to be faster even on the draw, or does he have reactive cards here?
All right, sleight of hand from Owen Turtenwald.
No 2-drops from Paulo, but he has a Izzet, so it might be Paulo who is actually looking to maybe disrupt the combo a little bit. Once Pyromancer Ascension is resolved, it just gets so much easier for the Storm deck to go off.
Yeah, we've seen him just sit on that Izzet Charm, and he's like, okay, well, you know, if you do something, I'll counter it. If you don't do anything, I'll start, you know, sifting through the top of my deck with it.
In a sense, the decks are similar in that they work best if they have this enchantment down. Ascendancy can't win without it.
Right.
Pyromancer Ascension can actually win without it,
right.
Because you have Past in Flames for incredible value.
And here's Gitaxian Probe from Owen. He's like, well, what am I facing? What's my clock like?
Yeah, and he does see that there's the potential for a turn 3 Jeskai Ascendancy here.
And there you see the hand he looked at. Ascendancy, Thought Scour, Serum Visions, Gitaxian Probe, and a couple of lands.
It doesn't look too impressive, but if the Jeskai Ascendancy resolves, then these 3 spells are just gonna go crazy. Basically giving Paulo access to, I don't know, 6 to 10 cards.
So Serum Visions for Owen Turtenwald.
Who brought it in a Dispel, it seems like. I'm not sure if that's like a really could be considered a trump card. It doesn't really seem like a matchup where you can stop your opponent by countering an instant. But it is good if you have a small counter over Pyromancer Ascension.
Yeah, it definitely seems like I'm seeing the Dispels coming in here for the counter wars.
Yeah. Definitely. The Swan Songs are even better because that might just stop your opponent from comboing.
Right. So Paulo plays Thought Scour at the end of the turn. Starts stocking up his graveyard. And draws a card.
So I know that Paulo Vitor has 2 Swan Songs in his sideboard to counter Pyromancer Ascension. Do you have Owen's list so we can see if he also has Swan Song? No, he has Wear Terrace though. So both of these players have ways to deal with opposing enchantments.
So Gitaxian Probe. Now Paulo wants the information. He sees a pair of Metamorphose. He sees a Ritual. He sees a Past in Flames. He sees the Dispel. And a pair of fetch lands.
Yeah, so the Dispel currently not doing anything, and Paulo threatening to resolve Jeskai Ascendancy now he knows that the coast is clear. On the other hand, Owen not with a really threatening hand. The fact that he has the Dispel that's not doing anything, and he would have to fire off the Metamorphosis without knowing what's going to happen.
Right.
That's not the position where you want to start going into your combo. It's actually kind of similar to the game against Yamamoto, where he had basically waited to draw a Goblin Electromancer, protected it with Dispel, and then you actually generate mana with the Metamorphose.
So here comes the Ascendancy. Jeskai Ascendancy. And there you get a look at it. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. Untap those creatures. And then whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you get to loot. You get to draw a card and discard a card.
I find it very pleasing that even though it's a card designed for creature strategies, you use all of the abilities for your combo.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so with a Fate Stitcher now, you can just keep untapping your land to pay for your next spell. Your Fate Stitcher gets
It's
gigantic.
basically only all your spells are reduced by 1 in mana cost, and your creature grows. But then if you have a Gitaxian Probe, it actually costs -1, and it just goes crazy from there. Now, Owen is going off again, it looks like. We had a Metamorphose, a Flooded Strength thinning out the deck, and if Owen thinks that he can't beat the Ascendancy once it has come down, he needs to go off this turn.
Yeah, no, I mean, clearly each time he's seen the Ascendancy hit play, he's broken the glass.
Yeah. And I would expect all of the 3 players to have discussed this and to have reached the consensus that that's what you want to be doing.
And so let's see the cards that Owen has to work with.
He found a Past in Flames, Desperate Ritual. So there's definitely no Ascendancy, no Pyromancer Ascension going on. He just needs to hope that he gets the mana necessary to Past in Flames and start flashing bats. Yeah, I think that's it. If you draw into 2 more rituals.
Right. He's got a Desperate Ritual and a Pyretic Ritual in hand.
You can see the 3 lands he has tapped. The 2 rituals in his graveyard is 5 mana. 2 more rituals from his hand is 7 mana. Then you cast Past in Flames for 4, and you have you have actually 3 mana left. So that's more than enough to start casting the rituals again, casting the Metamorphoses, and the blue spell. So you should be able to find a victory condition from that.
So, and that's his 5th spell of the turn. Okay, and there's the Past in Flames.
Yeah, so at this point, it's I would say it's about finding the grape shot. There's a little bit of see even the splice onto arcane value.
Yeah, I was wondering why he was holding that back, but that makes total sense.
Yeah, I don't think that mana at this stage is going to be a big problem. Owen is also still on 16, so he can pay the Phyrexian mana on all his cards.
Oh, there's Empty the Warrens.
So he did bring in Empty the Warrens. Interesting. I wouldn't have thought that that is a card you want to have, given that you are forced to go off when your opponent plays Jeskai Ascendancy, but you don't want to pass the turn again.
Right.
5 red, 1 blue.
Maybe because it also blocks Fate Stitcher.
6 red, 1 blue.
Whoops. So we're on 12 spells here now.
I'll pay life.
13 spells. There's a grape shot.
Yeah, there's a grape shot. So with Gitaxian Probe in hand, another Desperate Ritual in hand, and more than enough mana, you just grape shot
Right.
Apollo here.
Yeah, Apollo's at 14 from his own mana.
4 red, 2
Yeah.
blue.
You don't need it to do anything else. So you also saw that the coast is clear. Not that there are many cards in Modern that protect you from this.
Yep.
Yep.
And there's the hand. He says, I can more than kill you.
Still had all these.
I could kill you even if all your lands came into play untapped and not doing any damage to you. So Owen Turtenwald wins 2-0 over Paulo Vitor Damo da Rosa. Then you see a couple more matches going on, and this is William Jensen versus Tom Martell. William Jensen has the Pyromancer Ascension in play, and 1 counter on it. Tom Martell is playing the same deck. This is the same exact matchup we just watched.
Sitting on the same sides of the table.
Yeah. A mirror match.
Yeah.
A mirrored match, I should say.
Ascension on 1 is scary. Fate Stitch in the graveyard is somewhat scary if Martell gets to cast an Ascendancy here. He also has drawn, I think, an Iona Shield of Emeria, so he might be going for the Gifts plan in addition to the regular combo.
So right now, yeah, he's resolving his Dig Through Time. There you get a look at William Jensen's stats, Pro Tour Hall of Famer. 5 top 8s, including that win at Pro Tour Boston. 18 Grand Prix top 8s, all of them last year. And it only felt that way.
Not quite.
Not quite. It only felt that way.
He demonstrated why he belongs in the Hall of Fame very convincingly.
Yeah. There you see Tom Martell, his numbers. 2 Pro Tour top 8s, 6 Grand Prix top 8s. And there is the Gifts Ungiven in Tom's hand. Does he have time?
The Pyromancer Ascension on 1 is very, very scary. We already talked about how it's simply resolving is a big problem, but William Jensen just needs another Sleight of Hand or a Gitaxian Probe, and it's going to go. Oh, he actually has the double Desperate Ritual, I think.
There you get a look at Desperate Ritual.
How many cards do you have? 6.
So that's at the end of Tom's turn?
I'm asking myself the same question. Is he just trying to put the second counter on the Ascendancy without running into counter magic maybe? If Tom Martell has Remand, Spell Snare, Swan Song. Maybe you kind of want to make sure that you can't get time walked and that your Pyromancer Ascension is live before you untap. So that could, if that's the case, that's a super high level play here. Or is it the main phase and he just wanted the lands, the mana? No, it is. No. It is the end of turn. Great play by William Jensen. He knows that if the Ascendancy goes active, the Desperate Rituals are not what's relevant.
So cast Serum Visions twice. Finds a second Grape Shot. It looks like he just found the Past in Flames as well.
I thought it was another ritual. So even that, he might just try to Grape Shot his opponent out. With the only issue being that, of course, you do not get to double up with Pyromancer Ascension. You get the Storm Trigger, and then you get one copy of Ascension. That's otherwise you would basically just be winning right here. Which is not the case. Okay, that's the second part of the Serum Visions. We will get an update on the cards in hand. Okay, it's Dispel, Grape Shot, Wear Terror. So now it does matter that the Desperate Rituals haven't been cast this turn. But I still think it was a very good smart play by Jensen.
So resolving the scry here.
Yeah, it doesn't look entirely happy. This is only the first. Well, it's the first spell being cast this turn. It's the second spell resolving this turn. So there is no easy way to up your storm count in this position. You kind of have to continue playing this game because you don't want to start Grape Shotting for 3 or 4.
Right. So plays a land and he passes the turn.
Cards 5.
And so this means that Tom Martell's going to get an opportunity to cast Gifts Ungiven.
And Tom is on this somewhat crazy plan, I would say, of going a lot larger, a lot bigger, but also playing all these reactive cards, which somehow didn't allow him to stop the Pyromancer Ascension. So he has Swansong, he has Izzet, he has Remand. He couldn't stop Pyromancer Ascension from resolving, and then, of course, it becomes really hard for him to stop it from accumulating the 2 counters. So, yeah, Gift Ungiven is not resolving. Right. Dispel is... Here he actually said Dispel twice, just to make sure against the tapped out opponent. But both of these plays have a little bit too much land, so they can't really go off like they would like to. I have to think that Tom just wants to get Jeskai Ascendancy on the battlefield. Even if he isn't winning this turn, he then has counter backup and has to hope for Jensen not to draw, let's say, a Mana Morphose, or even a card draw spell is already quite scary. I also really like the fact that the new version, the non-green version, doesn't rely on Glittering Rish, because that's just so clunky, and so that way you just have the 4 Ascendancies, you have all the dig through times to find it. Right. That definitely didn't seem like a problem to find Jeskai Ascendancy.
So it's been very interesting to watch the evolution of this deck as people have started to puzzle it out.
It's funny to me that there was basically people saying it's almost impossible to beat when the versions were clearly not that strong yet. Right. There was not the consistency and not the power. At least I didn't see it at that stage. And now I'm slowly getting convinced. And yeah, let's talk about this tonight.
Tom plays his 5th land, passes the turn back to Jensen.
So doesn't try to resolve the Ascendancy. Is holding up all the counters he has. Might even be forced to double counter a spell if it gets copied by the Ascension, because he knows that Jensen is not holding spells that help him win the game.
Right. By the way, we have an update from the back table. Our undefeated player remains undefeated. Patrick Chapin is off to a 6-0 start here at the World Championship. 2-0 over Kentaro Yamamoto, who falls to 4-2.
Yep. There's just these World Championships where somebody doesn't lose matches, which actually changes the math in the end.
Right.
Round 14 might be very interesting then. Not well.
You could see someone at maybe even like 8-6.
That's what happens.
In.
Yes, if somebody just crushes the opposition here. All right.
So is it charm?
Tom is now just digging for cards to help him win, and he also had to be very happy that Huey passed the turn. Yeah. So Huey had a dead draw, nothing that he could copy reasonably well, and now Martel. He really has to hurry up.
Right, and he discards a Fairy Conclave.
Yeah, that would have a summoning sickness if it comes into play tapped, and I think he knows that he cannot afford to take much longer. Now, drawing into some more card draw, that's okay, but you really have to find this Fate Stitcher.
Thought Scours, and now has, looks like 2 Jeskai Ascendancies in hand.
I have to say, on like with this hand, having the Fairy Conclave in hand and just hoping to survive one more turn is not the worst plan, because you do have so many counters that it's unlikely for Huey to draw a spell that just wins him the game on its own. I was kind of expecting Tom to also play a Jeskai Ascendancy, but it's clear that his game plan is really only to there we have the Fate Stitcher.
Sure.
So Fate Stitcher untaps an island.
Yep.
Yeah. Huey not drawing a spell leaves him with the Swan Songs in hand, and that means that he gets to protect his Jeskai Ascendancy from Wear Tear.
Right. So here comes Jeskai Ascendancy. And Serum Visions.
So you would think that Tom has 1 mana for Swansong, but then the Jeskai Ascendancy trigger will untap Fate Stitcher, give him another mana should he have to Swansong again.
So here you go, Wear Tear, which is going to get played twice with the Pyromancer Ascension.
Oh, so we just let that resolve then?
He did just let that resolve.
And maybe he thought that he couldn't go off if he counters twice using it. What? I mean, using your mana for Swansong is basically free. So you continue to go off. You're still holding a Jeskai Ascendancy, which clearly isn't doing much, but you are cycling through your deck. And that should allow you to find another Fate Stitcher to maybe go off with.
But he does have a land to play this turn. Then does not have a spell at the end of that.
Yeah, so now I'm not sure if...
He needs a Gataxian Probe, right?
I'm just not sure why he wanted to let that happen. Oh, is it possible that he only is holding a single Swan Song?
He is only holding a single Swan Song.
So then he couldn't counter twice. Yeah, well, then he had to let it resolve and has to win with the next Ascendancy. Is that Engineered Explosives? Putting Engineered Explosives to the bottom here, probably as a backup plan against both Goblin tokens and a resolved Pyromancer Ascension.
Okay. So Fate Stitcher untaps a land.
This is exiled, right?
Yep. Passes the turn. And exiles his Fate Stitcher.
I don't know what happened there, but it seemed that it wasn't necessary for Tom to go for it in that fashion. Now his Fate Stitcher is exiled and his Ascendancy is gone, and Huey did only draw a Ritual again. So we are looking at a ton of mana, but only 4 plus 6 damage, 10 damage. Tom Martell is on 11. Is that true? Yeah, it's 4 plus 6 because of the copy on Pyromancer Ascension. Oh, now he's on 10.
Oh well.
But I mean, Tom knows that he's living on borrowed time, right? His time was really. It's actually a surprise that he's still alive.
Here you see Jensen doing some math.
So next time we're going to see Tom trying to go off again with the ascendancy that he still has. But the problem is you can't really use a remand to start the chain. You really want to draw into dig through time.
Well, he did just draw a dig through time.
Look at that. So I think that could be it. William Jensen with basically one damage short. Tomata probably just thinking about the order in which to play his spells.
So you have to play, I assume, the Ascendancy first?
If you want to get as... well, if you want to see as many cards as possible, that's definitely what you need to do.
Okay,
yes.
It looks like he passed the turn and Jensen just drew a Metamorphose.
Brian, I don't know what's going on here, but I hope for Tom Martell's sake that he has a plan. I mean, there is going to be a powerful dig through time, but it would have been a powerful dig through time in his main phase as well.
Right.
So this way he does see whether his opponent did draw something to get himself out of it, but what he doesn't know is that he's potentially just losing to the grape shots and rituals. But I just noticed that Huey has only a single red mana. So if both of these Metamorphoses get countered, he's sitting there with ritual, grape shot, and can't win.
Right. So dig through time is the play from Tom Martell. Looks at the top 7 cards of his library. 2 shots to find an answer.
It's possible that Huey could have started off with a ritual, kind of like baiting. It looked like you are only baiting a counter,
right?
But in fact, you're fixing your mana. It's possible that Tomata would have picked up on it and still countered it.
Does find a wear tear in there.
Yeah, but that would mean that the Metamorphose resolves, right? So, what are the other options? There's remand, and he does have another remand in hand. If he has the read that Huey does not have a red mana, double remand.
Right. So he could keep remand and wear tear, remand, untap, and then wear tear the Pyromancer Ascension.
Yeah, or just win the game depending on his hand.
If that's what you're into, Simon.
I don't hate it. Yeah, we have to take a look at Huey's hand here.
Yeah.
Ritual, grape shot. That's a lethal hand.
But
if you have a red mana.
But it is not a lethal amount of mana. All right. So Lars Dam, it took him a long time to get there, but he evened up his match against Reed Duke with his version of Jeskai Ascendancy.
Oh, so we have a third matchup of the same pairing.
So Tom is really torn here. It does not look like he kept the second remand.
It is much easier for us here.
Yeah, well, obviously. I mean, he can't know what is in. So he's going to wear tear.
Either way, one of these two people would have been really upset with how things went.
Right.
But you can't expect your opponent to be holding basically the kill, but just missing a red.
Because it goes on the stack second.
Copy resolves first. The copy's on the stack first. Okay, 1 second.
Well, it resolves. You said they're resolving. I'm just making sure.
I said this spell was.
You said your Metamorphosis resolve.
We can ask him, sure.
All right, I think there's some confusion about which spell was remanded, maybe, or which spell is resolving. Oh, okay. So, well, hasn't been a remand. So it's just wear tear on Pyromancer Ascension, and the question is what is resolving. All right.
You have high cards in hand?
Still 4.
Oh yeah, I think it might be because the copy is on top on the stack, so the copy is on top of the original. So if Tom says it resolves, then it really can only be the copy, which is the card that, not the card, the spell that Tom wants to remand, if anything.
Got it.
So
here's what happened.
yeah, it looks like we actually have a judge call, as you see.
Yeah.
Okay.
I cast Metamorphose and
Okay.
made a copy. In response, he played Dig Through Time and he cast Tear on Ascension. Then I said, okay, Tear resolves, and then he said, okay, your Metamorphose is resolved. And I said, okay, so the copy resolves first. He was like, oh, if that's the case, wait a second, they might not resolve.
Yeah, it looks like he has a pretty good case here. The communication seems to be clear.
I just didn't realize the ordering on the stack, and then was thinking about it more.
At the point, so what exactly was said? Again, run me through that. So
I'm not sure
cast it
exactly
through
what I
time, the
said at
stacks
any point in
happened.
time. Like, I'm not sure the exact words.
Okay.
Like, that sounds reasonably close.
From what that was said there, sounds like you did pass priority. Do you agree that happened?
Sure, I guess. I mean,
If you pass priority, then
Okay.
the top item of the stack does resolve.
So I'm going to get red from the copy.
yep.
Okay. So there you go. So the Metamorphose copy is resolving.
Yep.
And red in the pool for Jensen.
As it turns out, Jensen would have been happy with just one copy resolving, and there was only one way to prevent that, which Tom didn't go for.
This is still on the stack.
So we might see. Here we go through the motions here, maybe trying to find
Storm's 4.
some backup, but it's actually not needed with the cards he has in hand.
The Death Ritual resolves.
All right, so I got a 4 red,
Yep.
and then Metamorphose resolves. And you get
So he
2
cast the
blue.
Desperate Ritual before the second
Another
Metamorphose
nice
resolve.
play, just showing off here that the fact that he doesn't know if his Metamorphose will resolve, he makes sure that he has enough red mana, but to be honest, he could have done it
2 life going
in any order.
9. To probe you, put Storm to 5.
There is actually a probe. Remand, Serum Visions, Jeskai Ascendancy. That's not going to stop 2 Grape Shots.
Right.
I have a feeling that at least one of these players is going to replay this match.
Storm's 5, I have 4 red and 2 blue.
Yeah, I mean, it's impossible for Tom to know that. You just have to remand all the red sources.
Yeah, on the other hand, I was very surprised to not see a main phase Dig Through Time.
1 red and 1 blue.
If that just finds the wear tear, I think he is just
3 red.
in a much better spot.
Right. So Goblin Electromancer comes down here.
4.
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to use 1 of the red, leaving myself with the blue and 2 red. To cast a Desperate Ritual and put Storm to 7. Is that right?
Storm is at 7.
Yes, I made an awful
Okay.
more.
There you hear the players.
So right now you have, before that resolve, you have 1 red, 2 blue. Which
I
is
have 1 blue, 2 red.
And Storm is at 7.
Yes. For this result, Storm is at 7.
So this is looking like this match is going to go to Jensen. He's up 1 game.
The Hallowed Fountain almost cost him. If that had been a Steam Vents, he would have had the win already. So he was just lacking red mana. Tomatel is now realizing that this is just a lethal
shows
hand.
him the 2 Grape Shots and the Dispel.
It probably doesn't matter if I don't wear.
Yep.
Wow. So William Jensen
I actually cast Metamorphose first.
goes to 4 and 2 over Tom Martell. And then now we're going to get our look at a third matchup here between Pyromancer Ascension and Jeskai Ascendancy. The A-list battle of this weekend, Ascendancy versus Ascension.
We have a theme round.
Yeah. Reed Duke versus Lars Dam.
And it is important to note that Lars Dam is on an entirely different list.
Yes.
Just just looking at his main deck, he's not playing any green creatures. He also has a crazy mana base. I think.
Yeah, yeah. Both of these players, Magic Online champions.
Oh, true. Yeah. Now that you say it.
There you see Lars Dom, the reigning Magic Online champion. Reed Duke, of course, 2011, I believe.
Yeah. And it's funny how we think about Reed Duke and we don't really think about this Magic Online Championship anymore because he's now this
now,
superstar.
187 pro points later, $124,000 later.
But we could say the same thing about Lars Dom in 3 years, right?
Sure.
It's not impossible.
So it looks like a Leyline of Sanctity is going to kick things off for Lars Dom.
Yeah, I like just having 4 of these in the sideboard. That just makes it a lot more difficult for Reed. Players are tied, so Reed might have already seen the Leyline, might also have boarded in the Empty the Warrens to just win a bit easier.
Right. Yeah, we can. So he Gitaxian probes himself to draw a card.
Yeah, at least that doesn't force you to discard.
And now cast Sleight of Hand. I'd argue that there's already a little sleight of hand going on when you're Gitaxian probing yourself. And so Reed Duke, of course, playing, very, very within probably 1 or 2 cards, the same list as Owen and Billy Jensen.
I would be very surprised if there was much difference.
Yeah, I think Huey told me there was maybe 2 card different from in what Reed was playing.
Okay, so just based on preference. Or
Yeah.
Yeah, and Reed has to battle back here a little bit with a 2-3 record. He does want to collect these wins in Modern. Now, it really depends on his sideboard how he's gonna beat the Leyline. He has the tools to do so, and I'm not saying Goblin Electromancer beatdown is the way to go. Wear Tear.
But Goblin beatdown might be.
Yes, Goblin beatdown with Empty the Warrens, or you have to destroy the Leyline with Wear Tear. That's pretty much what you have to do if you're Storm combo.
Yeah. And Reed is not very far away from being able to cast a Treasure Cruise already, as he digs through his deck. There you get a look at Leyline of Sanctity. You can't be the target of spells or abilities your opponent controls.
Yeah, and it's a lot better if you don't pay the mana for it.
Yes. Yes, it is. We've seen this card be a factor in Modern before.
Yeah, I would.
Pro Tour Return to Ravnica. It was quite the card for Stanislav Sivka.
I would even think that Reed Duke had it in his Hexproof Boggles deck.
Right.
When he almost won the World Championships.
So there we go. Get a look at Lars Dom's hand. He's going to cast Faithless Looting here.
Yeah, you see that his game plan is a bit more reckless in a sense. You just try to Faithless Looting. You try to find your combo pieces, and we've already mentioned Glittering Wish. The mana base is a lot worse than if you are just playing strict Jeskai. But on the other hand, you do have more ways to find the Ascendancy.
So now he is trying to decide what 2 cards he pitches. He discards a Metamorphose and a land and says, go.
Yeah, very, very interesting here is that Lars Dam is playing 4 Treasure Cruise, and the new version of Jeskai Ascendancy combo is going for Dig Through Times mainly. So it's
4 Dig Through Times and 1 Treasure Cruise, right?
Because
the mix.
That's going to be a good card either way, and you also have Gifts Ungiven from the sideboard. But still, it shows you how different these decks are.
So Wear and Tear takes out the Leyline of Sanctity, and now the probing can begin. He's like, what do you have? What's going on?
Yeah, and once again, I like...
He sees 2 Treasure Cruises, a Metamorphose, and a Faithless Looting.
I like the fact that Reed is not trying to win with Goblins here, because it might just be a turn too slow, but instead goes for a more proactive plan that makes all his spells better. He gets to Gitaxian Proc, see what's going on, maybe resolve a Treasure Cruise.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, have you seen anyone resolve a Treasure Cruise with a with 2 counters on a Pyromancer Ascension yet.
No, not yet. Have you?
I have not. I really want to, though.
Yeah, but I did. I did clear up with the judge what happens if you delve your treasure cruise. If you get a counter from another treasure cruise on your Ascension, and you do not, because the Pyromancer Ascension doesn't see the cards in the graveyard.
Because it's part of the casting cost.
Yeah. It's good. It's good enough already. So.
Yes, yes. So here you see what Reed Duke has to work with. A couple of lightning bolts, sleight of hand, ritual, a couple more wear tears.
Which is incredible because it just gets rid of Jeskai Ascendancy in addition to destroying the Leyline of Sanctity here. So he actually drew all his rare tears.
Which is going to mean we need 3 Ascendancies from Lars to fight his way through that.
Or more advanced methods of stacking your triggers and somehow going off with a rare tear on the stack, which Josh Layton somehow pulled off. I think it was an abrupt decay, but the
right. Oh, I saw that. Yeah. So sleight of hand, then Serum Visions for Reed Duke. Looks like he just saw a Pyromancer Ascension there. I don't know if that card's as exciting after you've cast a Treasure Cruise.
It's actually 2 lightning bolts in his hand. So that's because, or that must be because he knows that there's green creatures to target with these bolts. Right. And I mean, if you aren't doing anything else, you can just bring your opponent down to a lower life total while also triggering Pyromancer Ascension. But the Noble Hierarch that Lars Dam just drew will most likely just die to a burn spell. Yeah, this matchup seems a lot worse for Jeskai Ascendancy, just by having a slower deck that needs the green creatures, not having the amount of Fate Stitchers.
Yeah, I saw Dave Williams playing with the Fate Stitcher combo during Eternal Weekend, and it was like, ooh, that's gonna be pretty sweet.
Do you know if he was still playing green cards?
I think he was.
Because that's kind of the progression. We had the green Glittering Wish version, and then we had the green with Fate Stitchers, but still Caryatid and the green mana base. And now we see that you can actually ditch green, just play Jeskai Ascendancy combo.
Okay. So Metamorphose from Lars Dam plays a fetch land. It's like a Flooded Strand, and now is pulling a land from his deck. And what is his plan here?
It looks like you're once again preparing a treasure cruise. I don't know why he's thinking so hard here. His mana base looks quite solid with 3 different duels. You do have to be careful. You have to take a duel that you can actually fetch 4 with Flooded Strand.
Right. So it doesn't have blue up for... Oh, but he may have blue from his...
Yeah, I thought he had mana floating, and he has 6 cards in his graveyard, so... Pact of Negation.
So Faithless Looting. And now he has Treasure Cruise mana.
Yeah, and he knew that when he started with the Metamorphose. So this is going to draw Lars 3 new cards. The thing that we have to mention is that Reed is holding a lot of burn, but if Lars doesn't pay life in any way, he does need something else to really get there. So we'll see what the 3 cards are that Lars draws here: Flooded Strand, Glittering Wish, and Birds.
Birds of Paradise.
Which is good, which is what you want to see with this kind of deck.
So Noble Hierarch comes out to draw the first bolt.
Well, Lars doesn't know that yet, but he would love to have that in play, of course.
Like, is the coast clear, guys?
Just a 0/1.
Yeah. And you see a Grape Shot for Reed Duke. Joins the
that actually changes things. So I see 3 mana, 4 with the Ritual.
Can he just bolt? Ritual,
it's
ritual,
close.
bolt.
Yeah, if you have 4 with the Ritual, then the Metamorphose, Lightning Bolt, Grape Shot. Now that's not quite lethal, but there's also Pyromancer Ascension, so the lightning bolts could start fueling that. The first one, it doesn't really matter the order you play that in, and I think with this hand, Reed doesn't really want to tap out. If you're holding 2 wear tears, tapping out just to give your opponent an opening for the combo does not really seem like what you want to be doing. Oh, there we have it, the bolt, as expected.
Yeah.
Now the second Ascension, no, not the second, the first Ascension of the game.
It looks like he's gonna Manamorphose into it. Nope. He's just gonna play the Ascension and pass the turn.
All right, it's very unlikely that Lars Dam is capable of going off here with no Ascension in play, no mana creature in play. This is what is the big advantage of having a Fate Stitcher from your graveyard. Haste.
Right.
And
you get to unearth it for just blue.
Yeah, it's an incredible card. Now, you see, Glittering Ridge is actually a good card to have here if you are looking for the Ascendancy, or if you maybe want to find a card from your sideboard to get rid of Pyromancer Ascension.
So you could Glittering Wish for a Wear Tear, which
but is that castable for it, Lars? Yeah, with the Flooded Strand, he's most likely. I'm not gonna say it's definite. His mana base is a bit interesting here. So Glittering Wish would take his white mana and the Stomping Ground, leaving it with a Watery Grave. Now, Watery Grave is definitely not casting Rare Tear.
All right. Well, he is casting Glittering Wish. So let's see what he gets.
Yeah, I see a Hallowed Fountain, so that is still going to be in his library if he wants to take Rare Chair here.
And that's exactly what he gets.
Yeah. There would have also been Abrupt Decay. It really just depends on how he wants to spend this turn.
So there you go. Flooded Strand is going to go get a white mana source. So he's going to take 3 to do that.
Yeah, the 3 life, not irrelevant, but Duke already used his first bolt, so he isn't threatening as much damage as previously.
Right. And then Wear Tear takes down the Ascension. Lars sends the turn back to Duke.
And Lars really doesn't have much. He had to use his Glittering Wish defensively, so now he's sitting on Mana Creatures and Treasure Cruise, which has potential, but is not looking great. So facing a Storm player that has the full 7 cards in hand is passing the turn, you know that it's only a matter of time.
Yeah, double Manamorphose, Pyretic Ritual, Grape Shot, and Lightning Bolt. Starts to get very scary. Obviously, Lars doesn't know that there's a bird. Here's a Noble Hierarch.
Yeah, what we could see here is if Reed is happy to draw out this game, because he has the Rare Tears, he can just Manamorphose and play a small Grape Shot.
And kill both of those.
Killing both of these creatures. Yeah. He gets a ton of value, prevents his opponent virtually from ever going off, and he doesn't really lose much, because if he draws another Pyromancer Ascension, or at some point a Past in Flames, he's still winning just as well.
So he breaks a fetch line. Reed Duke's down, I think, to 6 after that fetch land. But it's not really a... does Lars have any way to punish him for that?
No, this is not a burn deck in any way. I think you might want to be able to Glittering Wish for something, but even that is not the case. So
here we see the Manamorphose, and I think that this is going to be... Oh, wait, another Manamorphose.
There's the Pyromancer Ascension. They would have been really happy to be in play before that second Manamorphose.
Ahead of those, yes.
I don't believe that Reed has a lethal turn here. Lightning Bolt taking down to 9, but I don't see 9 spells being cast this turn.
Yeah, I think we're just going to see the 2 creatures get killed.
Yeah, not quite sure why the second Metamorphose was needed there. It's so much less scary to play against a deck where you know that they will have to play a summoning sick creature before going off. It gives you basically a whole turn where you don't have to worry about tapping out, your opponent just going off like crazy.
And there is the Pyromancer Ascension, drawn a little bit out of sequence for him.
Serum Visions for Dom, who is now deciding between
Serum Visions and Treasure Cruise.
And Serum Visions. It's really just about the order. I kind of like scrying first because then the card draw is relevant.
And he's come to the same conclusion you did.
Oh, that's a good sign for one of us.
For what I was just going to say.
Yeah, but sometimes it can actually be correct to do it the other way around. It really depends on how many turns you still want this game to go. But yeah, I think Lars knows that time is running out.
So what does he need to find here to get out of this situation?
And that's really the problem. With 0 Fate Stitchers in his deck, he is really only relying on 4 Birds of Paradise and 4 Noble Hierarch. I don't even think that he has Carven Caryatid, which I find actually quite surprising.
Right.
So he really just needs one of these creatures, needs to untap with it, and then needs to go off.
Also doesn't have Fairy Conclave.
Yeah, no, that's definitely not part of this meta base. You know what's part of this meta base? Ravnica duels.
So, Treasure Cruise does get played. Looks like there's another Glittering Wish in his hand.
Yeah, so at this point the Wear Tear has already been cast from his graveyard. I don't know if there was maybe a line to get Abrupt Decay the first time, and now because you only have 3 mana left, you would be able to maybe Glittering Wish for Wear Tear. On the other hand, Lars was never planning to Glittering Wish twice for answers.
Right.
That's not the proactive game plan that you have if you're playing a Faithless Looting combo deck.
All right, so he's looking, he's thinking, tapping his leg. We know he won a long, drawn-out game against Reduke in Game 2.
Sure. Can I use Glittering Wish to take cards that have been removed from the game?
I do not believe so, because
They're talking to the judge.
Glittering Wish, the exile zone is in the game.
It's possible that there was something. Oh, it could just be about the speed of the game.
Sure.
Pace of play. I don't know how much I like looking at these treasure cruises, and your graveyard is just so tiny. Oh, interesting. That used to be a thing.
Right. So it used to be that you could exile a card. You could get like a Cunning Wish loop going with exiled Cunning Wishes to get your storm count up.
That was very relevant at one World Championship, where Daniel Zink won with Mirari's Wake.
Right. But that does not work that way anymore.
Yeah, that has been a couple of years.
Yeah.
No, it's actually just your sideboard cards.
Right. This is because of the addition of the exile zone.
Exactly.
It's no longer considered a card.
The exile zone is part of the game.
Yeah.
Like, it's not outside the game.
Yeah. Makes me a little sad. There you get a look at Glittering Wish. Green-white, choose a multicolored card you own from outside the game, reveal that card, and put it into your hand. The only thing that lets you get is a card from your sideboard.
And the funny thing is, the wish cycle, the original wish cycle, was always already very powerful, and Glittering Wish is emulating that in a sense, but it took very long for there to be a gold card that you actually wanted to fetch, and it is Jeskai Ascendancy, as it turns out. Yeah, it looks like Lars is still thinking about this turn.
Yeah.
Or is yeah.
They're waiting for the judge to give them a ruling here.
I confirm. You cannot. Okay.
And it sounds like he told them what we already knew.
Oh, so I just assumed that they knew already and they were thinking about how to proceed here, but it did in fact get double checked.
You can always appeal a judge ruling too.
Yeah, there's something special about appealing to a judge ruling at this tournament because there's 3 equally equal head judges.
So pays mana for Gataxian probes. Is what am I facing down here?
2 wear tears, Poetic Ritual, and Lightning Bolt. With the Lightning Bolt triggering the Ascension, the other cards don't. This could actually turn into a win for Lars if he somehow manages to, in a sense, have the same game as we saw against Huey, where Huey was just drawing cards, but they weren't really doing anything. So if Lars gets to maybe resolve the ley line he just drew, or is he going to onto the beatdown plan? It's actually not a bad idea if your opponent is on 6.
Wait, what card?
Sigarda, Host of Herons.
Okay.
Wasn't expecting that.
No, not a card I was expecting to see in play in this matchup today.
There's another Lightning Bolt, so we have to check the life total again here. Also, the double bolt will enable the Ascension on their own, but
life totals are correct. It's 11 for Lars.
So 11.
And 6 for Reed Duke.
Yeah, he doesn't have the Grape Shot anymore. That was the cost to killing these 2 mana creatures, but that was definitely correct.
All right.
Yeah.
So I will play Sigarda.
If Reed was on 5, this would be tremendous. Now, this way, it's only a 2-turn clock.
Lars is like, I hear you like hexproof.
Just imagine Noble Hierarch coming down.
Oh my gosh.
Trigger Exalted. Well, it would probably get killed, but it would still be glorious. Yeah, this is really fun if you play a deck like this. This is clearly not what your game plan was, but because your opponent doesn't respect your burn potential, you just have the chance to run out a creature from your sideboard and win that way.
All right, so Lightning Bolt number 1 comes and drops Lars to 8. One counter on the Pyromancer Ascension.
And a Meddling Mage. So Retro looks to have boarded quite a few cards, and it was good that he drew the rare tears, but currently he can't use them, and is also tapping out of white mana now with the Meddling Mage. Okay, we didn't quite hear what he said there.
He named Faithless Looting.
Okay, so just doesn't want his opponent to draw into more cards. It's also in the graveyard, so...
There you get a look at a Meddling Mage, white-blue. As Meddling Mage comes into play, name a non-land card, and the named card can't be played.
I think Lars is favored here. I think he just has to basically sweat 1 draw step and not get burnt out. Mana Morphos on the left-hand side of the table. Yeah, I think we are going to see a hard cast Leyline of Sanctity. which does run into the rare tear that Reed is holding.
Okay.
Which will put the second counter on the Ascendancy.
Yeah, so in a sense, it's a disadvantage to give...
or has the wear tear been removed?
Oh, it might have been removed by Treasure Cruise, yeah. So keep in mind that Retuk will not be able to crack that fetch land if Sigarda attacks, which I fully expect here. And on the other hand, Reed is still holding that Lightning Bolt, so he isn't far off from winning, especially if the Meddling Mage gets to attack for 2. He only needs the second counter on Pyromancer Ascension. Now Lars Dam, on the other hand, is drawing 3 cards here, so it looks like he is not going for Leyline. Maybe wants to find the Noble Hierarch, because I think if Duke is actually forced to spend the Lightning Bolt, his chances of winning go down significantly.
Absolutely.
I have to say that the turn where Duke double Manamorphosed did come back to hurt him.
So another Glittering Wish.
Do I have to check the sideboard again? You can go for Counterflux, Scarscale Ritual. That is only relevant if you can remove a counter from a creature. Abrupt Decay hasn't been used yet. Might be an option. Fire Spout, Detention Sphere. Yeah, just some answers to other cards. I don't know if that's good enough for Lars here. He definitely doesn't want to give his opponent life with Fiery Justice.
Okay.
Plays a bird. Says go.
So doesn't even use the mana he has available here.
Reed cannot crack his fetch land. He's at 1.
It's actually possible that Lars just prefers not to crack his Flooded Strand, or that his Flooded Strand can't find the required mana anymore.
That is quite possible. Pyromancer's Ascension has won the other 2 tables that we saw this matchup in.
Yeah, so it's definitely not a bad matchup, and I thought, well, it just makes sense to assume that it's better if your opponent is playing green 0/1 creatures.
Right, so Lightning Bolt you.
Ooh. Manamorphose.
That should be enough to turn the tide here.
But it's only 2 draw steps. You can easily not find the cards here.
Okay, except all right, so there's a Pyretic Ritual.
7 red.
Which makes 7 mana.
Floating 5 red. Metamorphose and copy it. So the first copy gives me 5 red, 2 blue.
Land.
Second copy, 5 red, 4 blue.
Land. That's bad news.
Sorry, why did you say 7 red?
He's holding a pair of Wear Tears.
Oh, I'm sorry. Should be 6.
Yeah, Reed is correcting himself. I think he's so used to going off with Goblin Electromancer, and he has a gold 2/2 creature in play, so he got a bit confused there.
So, Meddling Mage attacks. The bird just jumps in the way of it.
Go.
Sigarda, ladies and gentlemen.
Attack you. Reed extends the hand. Lars Damo wins. He goes to 3-3 and puts 1 on the board.
I can't believe it. I can't
Jeskai
believe
Ascendancy.
this game. It's just crazy. It's not Jeskai Ascendancy.
I'm sorry. I'm just
For Sigarda.
Glittering Wish Sigarda combo. Oh my gosh! There you have it. Lars Dom gets himself to even. Gets himself to 500,
which is solid.
Which is exactly where you'd really like to be, especially if you had maybe a rough patch on day 1 like he did in terms of getting his deck sorted out. And he wins. On the other tables, we saw Patrick Chapin go to 6-0. He's the only undefeated player left in this tournament, and he is going to, he's just putting distance between himself and the field.
He's backing up the talk from Proto Journey into Nyx.
Yeah.
He didn't just say it; he's here to prove it.
Yeah, I mean he was really focused. And then we also saw Owen Turtenwald win with Pyromancer Ascension, and William Jensen win with Pyromancer Ascension. The 3rd member of the Peach Garden Oath, Reed Duke, fell to Sigarda, host of Herons.
Crazy.
Amazing magic. We're about to send it back to the news desk.
Yeah, it's sort of Jeskai Ascendancy. It's close, but no Sigarda. So that is Lars Dam 3-3, Reed Duke now at 2-4. I'm really sorry to do that to you with you just sitting right there. I've been joined by Randy Buehler, and it's time, Randy, for goodness sake, let's get this done. The top 5 decks in Modern. Let's go to it.
It's time to start the Modern format. We should do the overview, right?
Fair.
All right.
What have we got at number 5?
Yeah, we did. We went through the honorable mentions earlier, and of course, in my first half of the 5, I had the I had the Cruise Burn deck, of course. I had the Storm deck, fully expecting exactly what was going to happen. I didn't do quite that well, but yeah. Top 5, here we go. The Jund deck. You can call it Jund. Black-Green X is kind of the real name for this deck. And what you do with the X nowadays, we saw Willie Edel in a deck tech. Siege Rhino is the best card to splash into your Black-Green deck nowadays. Bloodblade Rhino, I thought, was the great name for it that Willie had coined. And yeah, so this is still a deck. This is still a very real thing. It can kill creatures, it can discard, it can get a game against Delver, it can get a game against combo. It's just good, solid, kind of a fair deck, but a very good one.
Isn't that a problem? That the deck is trying to be fair when, as we are seeing, as the modern format's gone on today, some people are trying to not be fair at all. Yeah,
there's 10 combo decks in our 24-person field. That is more combo than I think anybody was expecting. 4 Ascendancy decks, 3 of the Storm lists, and then 3 Scape Shifts. And I'm not even counting Pod as a combo deck.
Sure, because that's closer to fair.
It is, and then the combo has become less and less of what those guys are trying to do. But yeah, I mean, if you know what you're doing with an Obzon deck, with a Rock deck, you know, you can beat any 2 of those 3 matchups. So if you know what's coming up and you know how to play the deck, you get good at extracting value, yeah, it's a perfectly reasonable choice.
Yeah.
It's not broken. You're not going to wow anybody with your deck choice, but you know what? You've got a decent game against anybody. You know, sort of 55% against everyone.
Yeah, and it was interesting, Willie saying during the deck tech that basically they're all the same. It doesn't matter what the cards in it are, they're all the same deck, which means that all that experience he's had over 20 years of playing the game, here we are.
Oh, right, yeah. Siege Rhino is the right thing to play nowadays, but that doesn't mean that it totally changes the way the deck plays.
Sure. All right, so that's number 5. Number 4 now, and we go back to combo mode, and yet have we got a single copy of this in the field?
No, 0 copies in the field. I had it at number 4 coming into the tournament. I mean, it has certainly been one of the staples of this modern format forever. But yeah, the combo players went towards Storm. They went towards sort of new school Ascendancy lists. No Splinter Twin players here, but you know, you show up for a modern tournament, whether it's a GP or FNM, what have you, you got to be ready for this deck. It is very good. It is very consistent, and dig through time makes it even better.
Yeah, and certainly Patrick Dickman will be playing this in GP Milan, regardless of what the metagame here tells us. Pretty much. Let's go to the top 3 then, and this is something that we've seen Sean McLaren very much champion.
Oh, yeah.
Jeskai.
Jeskai's good. I mean, you've got bolts and plows to deal with whatever creatures they've got, whether they're attacking you with creatures or trying to combo out with their creatures. You've got the ability to remove them. You're good against the Delver deck. You're good against. You've got the permission to be good against the combo decks. I mean, it's a very versatile deck. It's got, you know, it wasn't called Jeskai when Sean won the Pro Tour with it, but I mean, I think the name sort of suits it. It's got that same sort of, I can deal damage quickly, I can counter things and go for the long game. A lot of different ways you can build it. I'm sure, I mean, Sean's take on it here, to the surprise of absolutely no one, he's playing it again, seems to be doing reasonably well with it. And yeah, you look at that last bullet, it's kind of interesting. Not only did Sean win the last Pro Tour with it, it's also what won the last World Championships in Shahar's hands.
Absolutely, yeah. And a tremendous deck, and similar in a way to the Abzan deck in that it's so versatile. That's one of the keys to both of those. You can go quick, you can have enough early defense to go long. Ultimately, you have play, and that's a word that pros love. Have play to a deck. Chance to outplay your opposition.
Definitely.
All right, the top 2, here we go. Number 2, it's going to be blue-red Delver, or just Delver.
I'm calling it just Delver. I mean, the Delver decks aren't that different in the grand scheme of things. You know, maybe you want the green for Tarmogoyf, maybe you want to get some white cards in your deck, maybe you just want to be clean blue-red, but Delver of Secrets, Young Pyromancer, sort of these super efficient creatures, lightning bolts, and then whatever you're doing, whether it's Gitaxian Probes or lightning bolts, sort of all these cheap cards that are capable of flipping a Delver or generating profit off of a Pyromancer, but also really good at going to the graveyard and fueling your treasure cruises. So, you know, that treasure cruise has really, this is the best home for treasure cruise. I mean, maybe the combo decks are going to work out to be a better home long term, but this is sort of the easiest good home for treasure cruise, and these decks have really taken over modern. They are the most played decks here. You know, you look at the metagame breakdown that's posted on the web, and it looks a little closer. It's like, oh, there's 4 Ascendancies and 4 blue-red Delvers, but the Delver decks are in 3 piles, right? You've got the green ones, the white ones, and the blue-red ones. You pile all the Delver decks together, it's fully 7 out of the 24 decks we've got here. 30% of the field here is Delver.
Right, and the thing is, Modern was the format that people were nervous about coming in. And boy, is this ever a safe pair of hands. You have to be reasonably unlucky to go 0-4 if you're a great player with a blue-red Delver list. Whereas if you choose Affinity, you could be utterly hated to the dawn of time. Your combo could go horribly wrong and just be skewered every round. Blue-red Delver is a very safe choice.
Yeah, and a lot of people made that basic choice.
All right, so what's your number one?
And the more things change, the more things stay the same.
La plus ça change, la plus ça même chose. Had to do a bit of French since we're here in Nice. Go for it.
The Birthing Pod deck is just great. I mean, I think that Birthing Pod fans around the world were a little nervous about cons, but as the format has shaken out, it hasn't changed that much. Ascendancy decks are pretty good against Pod, but you know what? You can still go get your Linvala. You've got so many one-ofs that are good and so many ways to tutor out exactly the right card for the right situation that Birthing Pod, it's got game against everything. I mean, can play that mid-range value deck. You can make it a little combo-centric if you want to. It's going to be one of the staples of Modern for however long Birthing Pod stays legal.
Fantastic. So that's the number one. But you know what's so great about Magic? It's always changing. Right now, I'm going to send you over to the video wall because who knows, in a couple of days' time, we might have an entirely different number one on the top of Randy's pile because right now, the emerging story in Modern is that finally the card that came out of Khans of Tarkir, Jeskai Ascendancy, that everyone saw and went, this is going to be crazy in Modern, everyone's going to play it, it's going to dominate, get it banned. Well, no one found a way to really make it happen. Maybe that changed today here on day one of the World Championship. Let's go inside that deck now with Randy Buehler and joining him, one of the architects and pilots of the new Jeskai Ascendancy combo, it's Tom Martell.